Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Dojo Live. I am Tulio Sergusa, broadcasting from Southern California. Today is Thursday, August 26th, 2021. I'm joined today by Kim Lantis in Hermosillo, Mexico. Hi, Kim. Welcome back. We have one final show for the week.
Hey,
And
Talia, thank
Carlos
you.
Ponce in Cuernavaca, Mexico, who's producing in the background today a little bit. So we'll hopefully hear from him. And of course, we have our guest, who is Govind Rangasamy, who's the founder and CEO at Appranix. And we're going to be talking about what happens when you've been attacked by ransomware and you need to recover your data. Can you recover your data, or is it gone forever? Either way, it's a challenge that we're going to be talking about how to possibly have a solution around it. So, before we do that, let's.
Uh-oh, we lost Tulu. What I think he
No,
was going to say, there he is. Go,
I'm
you're
still
back,
here.
Tulu.
Carlos, stop
Okay.
playing around with the camera. So let's get to, before we go into the topic today, let's get to know Govind a little bit. Please tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. So thank you, everyone, for hosting us. I'm Govind Rangasamy, founder and CEO of Appranix. I started this company almost 5 years ago with my team. Before that, we sold a multi-cloud management firm. We produced that company with the exact team that joined again in Appranix. Going back, I used to run a small business within HP, managing all these wonderful storage management systems. When HP was making about $100 billion, I was managing a product line that was making about $100 million, only few zeros off. But I had fun, so much fun. So that pretty much started my digital storage management and experience. And after that, I went onto the cloud platforms. Eucalyptus, I was running products for them. That was almost like 10 years ago. Now it feels like an eternity from cloud perspective. If you think about it, Amazon Web Services is only 15 years old. So now it's being completely understood. Without cloud, you can't do much nowadays, right? So it's a night and day, and happy to be here.
Excellent. Yes, the time from big company to startup, it's like every 5 months is the equal of 5 years.
So
Startup,
this
right?
is my sixth one, by the way. This is my sixth one.
There you
It's
go. All
incredible
right.
journey. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Appranix. What gave birth to the idea? What were you trying to solve? What do you guys do? And the name. We gotta find out how you came up with this name. It's a very
Okay.
fascinating name.
Right.
Kind of sounds a little bit like Pronix. Uh, uh, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of that practice. Forgive me. Let's go on. Tell us about Appranix.
Yeah. Appranix, what we do is that we increase the resiliency of applications running on the cloud platforms day in, day out, right? If you look at it, this is the reason why Gartner has recognized us as one of the cool vendors in this space. And we pretty much help any company, any IT organization to be exact, that goes into the cloud platforms like Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure platform, and they run their applications, complex applications on these platforms. And all of these companies struggle to provide that resiliency in the sense that when the applications go down, they should be able to come back really quickly. Just like during the pandemic, people and families go down, but they come back. Resilient families, resilient people, right? Similar to that, the systems need to be resilient as well. And that is one of the big topics today when you think about ransomware attacks. When the applications go down because of ransomware, now how do we really provide resiliency for those applications? And as I mentioned earlier, we started almost 5 years ago after selling our previous company. We didn't go for any venture funding. It's one of the bootstrap stories, and we have been growing and doubling our number of customers and revenue ever since. Even through the pandemic, we increased revenue by 45%. And this year, we are on track to almost like 70% increase in revenue. So the market has been understanding of what we do. And also, I think more and more applications are moving to the cloud. And that's where we help.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's see what we can learn today. Let's dig right in. Kim, please, if you don't mind introducing the topic today.
Sure. Thank you, Tulio. Thank you for being here, Govind, and thank you for what you're doing backstage for us, Carlos. It appears as though I have a better internet connection today, so I'm really happy about that.
No steam-powered internet today?
I don't know what's happening. It was bizarre. Yesterday was not my best show.
They ran out of coals yesterday.
Yeah.
So today's show, the topic as chosen by you, Govind, is rapid recoveries from ransomware. How cloud-enabled organizations can rapidly recover their distributed applications from ransomware attacks. Say that 10 times fast. So first of all, let's just get down to the very, very basics before we get into the more technical elements of today's talk. Govind, can you share with us exactly what is ransomware and why it's such a huge problem? Maybe like some statistics, how many companies are affected, etc.
Absolutely. Ransomware is a type of virus attack, in a very simplistic form, right? Typically, a ransomware gets into a corporate network through, some means. It could be through some access from a website that a particular employee might just open and then, mess around with, through emails. These criminals, they implant certain viruses that are dormant, and that might be dormant for a very long time, and they slowly take hold of the entire network. Day by day, they won't affect. They will stay dormant for a long time, and then one particular day, they might simply take over your network. They will encrypt your network completely. You may not be able to even attack or recover anything from your network. You may not be able to even log into your own systems, right? And recently, I'm not sure if you noticed, the East Coast pipeline, the gas pipeline, was attacked and was taken over by ransomware attackers. And the gas wasn't being sent from Houston and area towards through the pipe, right? It's a physical system. Ransomware pretty much destroyed that supply chain, if you will, and the pump stations were all suffering from lack of supply, and people were queuing up. So that's how it is real. It is affecting people, daily activities of people, right? So now you can imagine the situation for any system, financial services systems, electricity distribution systems, and so on. And hospital systems. Education systems are getting attacked. Manufacturing systems are getting attacked. More and more manufacturing companies are getting attacked. So there is an independent research out there that says that by year 2025, at least 75% of these organizations will have one or more attacks, which is, when you compare 2020, is 7 times increase by 2025. It's unbelievable in terms of how it is attacked and how many organizations are getting attacked. Mm-hmm. It is increasing day by day, right?
The premise behind the ransomware is encryption, and you're supposed to pay a ransom, right, in order to get your stuff back. I had my own personal computer attacked by ransomware. We never paid the however many hundreds of dollars we're asking for. We were just like, I guess there's nothing that we can't live without there. Obviously, for companies, what you've got there, you cannot not live without. And I'm guessing the quantity that they're asking for is a lot larger. So if companies, there's 2 options, right? I guess pay, which isn't probably even a guarantee that you're going to get what you want back, or utilize something like Appranix.
That's true. So, a typical approach, and this entire mechanism is getting very sophisticated nowadays. Initially, it used to be like, take over the network, encrypt all the data, take the keys, and then demand organization to pay a ransom, typically bitcoins or whatever that mechanism is, and then attackers will release the keys. You can go and get your data back or your applications back. What's happening now is that, or in other words, let's say, you agree to pay and they release some kind of a keys, but they still hold back. Or sometimes you say, no, it's not that important. I have my backup system. So I don't want to pay. I can go to my backup system. I can get my data back. So some organizations definitely did that, right? But what's happening now is that the ransomware attackers are literally attacking the backup systems as well. So they go to the backup consoles and they take over the console completely. So now your backup systems are in danger, right? So you don't have any other choice other than paying the hackers, as well as the amount is increasing as well. Now they know how critical your applications are, right? And based on the criticality of those applications, they will demand more and more.
So how does Appranix jump in? How is it? What is it that you're doing? You're talking about rapid recovery. How rapid is rapid? And what is this like secret killer virus, injection? How does this work?
Right. So what we do is that, in the fundamental sense, and we take care of only cloud applications. And these cloud applications are very complex, right? When you look at any of the cloud services, infrastructure services, they are very distributed. The applications that take advantage of these services are also very distributed and very dynamic, right? So many moving parts, not just a server there, a computer there, and a storage system here, and the network, right? We are looking at thousands and thousands of instances of these servers and cloud services that really enable these applications. So unlike a traditional backup system, we pretty much protect the entire environment of those dynamic applications running on the cloud. Second, we include a disaster recovery system as well. So one of the key component of any backup system is that you need to have multiple copies of your backup data, right? So you not only have a backup copy in a region where you are running. So cloud is pretty much distributed across many different regions. In a geographic region, let's say if you take the United States, you have multiple regions, one on the East Coast, Virginia, Ohio, Oregon, Texas, and so on. So they are all spread across many different regions. And you need to be able to protect your applications and the data and the configurations of those applications, not only in your primary region where the applications run daily, but also you need to have a copy or more than one copy of those applications and the data in some other regions of the cloud as well. That way, you are at least protected from a protection point of view. Second of all, unlike other backup systems, ours is a SaaS service. So what happens is that typically when enterprises buy these backup systems, they install and manage those backup systems as if it's their own application within the same region of the cloud, right? And when the attacker comes in and takes over the entire region, your account within that particular region, now you don't even have access to backup systems. So how would you really recover your applications?
Right. So so what's the answer? I mean, you go back before we had cloud.
It's a numbers game. Just having more.
I'm sorry. Am I on mute? Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Julie.
Great. So I was just to finish the question. Back in the day before we had cloud, people backed up their stuff to tapes, right? It was physically stored somewhere, right? Today, the massive amounts of data, we wouldn't have enough storage for that. So it's impossible. But Is that something that eventually, with like quantum computing and the storage becoming smaller and smaller, is that something that people ought to consider in the future? The actual physical storage of backup that can't be hacked, that's offline? What's the solution?
Yeah, the tape is still there. Within the cloud as well, the tape is still alive and well. But what's happening is that because of the quantity of data, the speed at which the data is being generated requires a different type of system, not only to run the applications, but also to protect these applications faster and faster. So these are all disk-based systems. So if you look at your laptops today, there are no moving parts other than the fan, maybe, right? The storage is memory-based, storage system, NVMe-based systems. So it's much faster, no moving parts, right? And it can store a lot more, right? It's very common to see petabytes and petabyte of storage in our customer accounts today. And the level at which these applications chain the data, just think about Facebook, the amount of storage that they need. Even traditional applications, right? They're all web enabled, which means that they generate a lot more data because of the user's activity and so on. So for that, in order to protect that level of data at a much faster rate, you got to have a different system in the backend to protect it, to back up, right? So that has changed a lot from tape. So there are levels of protection, and that is understood. That has really changed in the last 10 years tremendously. And the cloud literally enabled that and sped up the process. So when you look at a complex application environment generating tons of data, terabytes and petabytes of data, the cloud platforms really enable an easier way to protect and a faster way to protect and faster way to move the data to some other regions as well, right? Not only 2 regions, but you can also have 3 regions to protect. So now you have copies, data copies, right? But that is not the issue. The issue is not just recovering the data, because just recovering the data, if you do not have your operating system getting that data from a disk drive or a pen drive, right? It's of no use because you're not recovering your application. Your Word document is there, but Microsoft Word is not there, right? So it's very important that you have the capability to be able to recover your applications as well, running on the cloud, right? And every minute that you're experiencing downtime is going to cost a lot more. So on an average, it is about $300K across smaller and larger enterprises and so on, $300,000 per hour of downtime. So depending on the criticality of the application, you can see the amount of money that you are losing, first of all. Second of all, your company's reputation, right? Third, now you are in a really big dilemma, either to pay or not pay. That is one thing. So assuming that you are willing to pay the ransomware attacker, now you have to really quickly recover, right? From different regions. And that's where Appranix comes in. Appranix comes in and says that we understand the data because we protected that data, application data. However fast the application data is being produced, we can quickly protect your applications and application data together, right? And when it comes down to recoveries, it's a single button recovery. We take care of all the complexity of the cloud infrastructure, such as virtual machines, the load balancers, the storage, the gateways, the security groups, and so on. There are a number of these services that are being used by these critical applications nowadays, critical enterprise distributed applications. And that's where we come in. That's where we differentiate ourselves from the rest of the industry in our space.
That's very interesting. So, how do you go about accomplishing that with the various different cloud service providers? Have you built connectivity with all of them? Are there limitations in terms of what people need to have their applications, where they need to have them running? How do you manage through that?
Great question. So ours is a cloud service as well. So one of the other reasons why it's better to have a backup console or recovery console completely separate from the actual application that's running for the customers. So we run as a cloud service, and we connect with these cloud systems through an encrypted channel over the web, right? There are proper API available in terms of enabling the connectivity into application environments that are running on the cloud. So we pretty much make use of all the API available from different cloud providers. We do not differentiate. We take care of all the complexities of those cloud provider services, right? Infrastructure services, serverless services, and so on. And we take care of that remotely. And we protect the data of those applications right on the cloud platforms and moving the data appropriately to different regions within that cloud platform. All of that, you don't see it. It's all automatically managed by Appranix. All you have to do is to set up the policies. Say, let's say, Tulio, you are coming in and saying that my distributed application needs to be protected every hour. And Appranix make a copy of my application as well as data in my primary region, let's say East Coast. And by the way, keep a copy in San Francisco and another copy in Oregon. That's your policy, and do it every hour. And then you keep 24 copies per day. That's all I need. And then you can add another policy saying that, oh, by the way, at the end of the day, make a copy because I need a daily copy as well, right? And then every week, keep a copy. Every month, keep another copy. So likewise, you can build up these copies. They're all incremental anyway, so that's why it's faster. Appranix takes care of all of that, right?
I'd like to jump in, Govind. We're approaching the final segment of today's conversation, and I wouldn't want to leave without asking you something that is that we think it's important also as it pertains to the company, Appranix. So a lot of the people who might be watching out there might be maybe engineers or people who might want to come work for you at some point, might be reaching out. What would you say to these folks who about your company in regards to the what's important for you? What is the culture like? I know the culture is a broad word that has evolved with time, but still, what is important for you as a company that you would be able to say that it's a great place to be at, a great place to make a change or a dent in the tech space for people who might want to come work with you?
Absolutely. So for all those engineers, we would love to have a conversation with you. First of all, it's cutting edge, right? We believe we are a couple of years ahead of the game. It's one of the reasons why Gartner has signed a partnership agreement yesterday in Mexico City, right? So people sign up from everywhere. And company is also very distributed. We have Boston-based operations, but it is just very, very lightweight, right? And we have India-based operations as well. People work from anywhere during the COVID, right? So very distributed, very flexible in terms of culture-wise. And we don't ask you, just go ahead and just do this particular work or anything. It is, it's up to you how you really satisfy a particular requirement. In a technology sense, we give you a microservice to work on. As an example, if you're an engineer thinking about using all the cool technologies to work. And in terms of compensation-wise, obviously, we are very, very competitive. So we can obviously talk about that. And in terms of cool factor, we can't provide beer and things like that because of COVID, but we are open to those ideas as well.
Fantastic.
All right, thank you so much.
I like to crack open cold ones virtually It works. Carlos is a pro, right?
I haven't seen him drinking much lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
would
I
be
wanted to go back.
surprised, Kim.
I wanted to go back to this little but very important thing that you mentioned a few minutes ago, and that was at the push of a button. So let's say worst case scenario, I've been attacked, all of my information has been encrypted. I need it back because I'm really not interested in paying $300,000 an hour.
Right.
Ransomware, help me out. When you say push of a button, what does that mean, and how fast is this?
It's actually touch of a button if you have an iPad, to be specific, by the way. Right. For example, the systems that used to take about 48 hours to recover and test whether the systems are working or not. One of the financial services company was able to recover the entire system. Whatever took 48 hours to recover and test, it took 56 minutes, less than an hour to recover in our case. And in some cases, for smaller systems, we take only 15 minutes or less. And I'm talking about the entire network, the complexities within network, the load balancers, the infrastructure, the configurations, the gateways, everything comes up automatically. And our system automatically writes a code, automatically writes that infrastructure as code based on a particular point in time. So you don't need to know the dependencies. That's a big boost for any of the system.
Wow. So you're talking about 48 hours versus 56 minutes. So it's really potentially $14.5 million versus less than 300,000.
I would love to put those $1 million. Yes.
Yeah, somewhere else. Me too.
Right. Depending on the criticality of the system. Yes.
Yeah, I think we're talking about recovery, and this is amazing. But I really think we'd be amiss if we're not talking about prevention. If recovery, I think, is the worst case scenario. What can we do as individuals and as companies to prevent the need to recover our information from the get-go? What would you say to those of us out there?
Absolutely. So prevention, we cannot solve all the problems, right? There are a number of cybersecurity companies that monitor different perimeters of attack, right? So those companies are really kind of monitoring and giving those protection from identifying the attacks or get ahead of the attacks and so on. That is one layer of prevention. Another, obviously, we simply assume that the companies are getting attacked and they will continue to be attacked, right? So from that point of view, protection is very key. But there's layers of in-between things, right? Protect your backup systems. Do not allow access to your backup systems, as simple as enabling multi-factor authentication, right? Do not allow everyone to log into your backup systems. Do not allow them to control your crown jewels of your data. All those basic, best practices, right, need to be properly practiced by the enterprises. Otherwise, whatever the system we provide, we can certainly recover based on whatever we protect, but not every system can be protected that way, right? So it is important to put the layers of protection. And the cybersecurity monitoring companies are adding the capabilities more and more, including larger companies like Microsoft and Google, right? They have promised billions of dollars. I'm not sure if you saw the news yesterday, right? Billions of dollars to federal government as well. So we are all in it together.
Yeah. Exactly. We take driver's ed, we get our driver's license, we stop fully at stop signs, but our car's still insured, right?
Right, insured. And you can come back, you can recover from that accident so that you can get back to your work, right? That's a push button.
That's the key today. I think the idea of fully being able to protect yourself is becoming more and more of like a pipe dream. I mean, look at the major corporations, even the IRS has been hacked. These are, top-notch security-based environments, and they still get hacked and they still have these problems. So meta plan for disaster and how to recover from it versus
Absolutely.
trying to plan avoiding the disaster. I mean, in some cases you can, in many cases you can't. So that seems very loud and clear. Thanks for being with us today. We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining. We're up on time, so we'll see you again on Monday. This is the last show for the week. We'll see you again on Monday at 12 o'clock Pacific for the recap show. We take 10 minutes to recap the week's shows and just highlight the key points and remind people of the shows. So see you on Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific. Carlos, what do we got booked for next week?
We got 3 shows, Tulio. We got on Monday, we got, but let me check, Data Tree with its founder, Shimon Tolz. And then on Wednesday, for the 1st, we'll be speaking with, with Josh Blank, the CEO and founder of OTTO.ai. A platform to help people with hearing disabilities. And finally, on Thursday, we'll be speaking with Matt Britton, the CEO of Suzy. So I have the topic for that one, by the way. So the topic will be democratizing market research and consumer insights. That's what we have for next week. So we have a full week ahead, folks. So join us today right here on Dojo Live. Don't miss any of the shows. And remember, be safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.